He's a hustler, unbreakable, a people's person, and a future billionaire. This is The Hustler's Corner with Sbu well known to you and I as DJ Sbu.
Do you understand? By the way, guys, I'm getting excited because on the Hustler's Corner today, we've got a sister who's exactly like what we believe in, is building your own dream, hustling for what you believe in, and representing your community. I'd like for you guys to like, share with your friends, and comment at the bottom. Let us know what you guys think of this episode. We started the Hustler's Corner because we bring these hustlers so they can inspire you. You can learn from the wisdom. My name is DJ Sbu. I'm an author of 3 best-selling books back in South Africa. In Johannesburg, that's where I grew up. Very hard, struggled like crazy through the white supremacist system. Here to build global companies so I can raise as much money as possible and take it back to the African continent and invest it so I can help as many of our people as possible. Somebody who thinks exactly that way and who travels the world to spread a similar message, but she's got an interesting story because her story is not only emotional, but very inspiring. You'll find her so inspiring. I'd like for you to follow her on social media. Sibulele Sibaca. It's Sibulele Sibaca. Welcome to the Hustler's Corner.
Thank you so much, my friend.
What I love is that we're friends,
Yes.
and the people that I've brought onto the Hustler's Corner, I do mention that anybody who's not my friend, what I love is you are my friend.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your story? When you travel the world and people ask you, why are you here? I mean, just in the past month, you were in Canada, you were in Joburg, you were in LA, you were in New York, you were in Washington, DC,
Yes.
And you're in Europe.
Yes. I've traveled quite a bit in the past couple of weeks now. Actually, 5 weeks. I counted 3 continents.
Which is your normal life?
Which is normal. This is the kind of thing that I do all the time.
Let's not talk about this Sbu now. Who
okay.
travels the world?
Oh yeah, because
Let's
this Sbu has come a long way. Yeah.
Me, I'm just gonna shut up. Tell the story.
So I was born Gwalanga, in Cape Town, a small township. In fact, when you just land at the airport, in Cape Town, it's the first township you get to before you get to town. Born with my mom and my dad, and I lived with my mom, my dad, and my older brother. Life was great, you know. My brother and I were very protected and loved and cared for. We had this massive community, you know. It was great. Both my parents, in fact, were educators. Life was great until life showed us flames. My mom died when I was 9, very suddenly. We didn't even know why. But you know, I had to celebrate my father, whom in the moment when most men would have said, you know what, grand, I can't do this, you know, when my mom's family was saying, give us these children, they're young, we'll help, we'll raise them for you. My father stepped up and said, over my dead body, I am going to raise these kids, they're mine. And so my father became my mom and my dad in one.
Oh my goodness. So your father became a single dad.
He became a single dad.
Through losing his wife.
And he did an amazing job. I remember when I would get when I got my first period, you know, coming of age. These are things that moms should be handling and dealing with, you know. My dad, oh my word, I didn't go to school for like 3 days, first of all, because he was like, oh, you're sick, what's going on? You're
because
bleeding.
He doesn't understand,
you know?
And how old were you?
I mean, I was at this point, I was about 12,
okay,
13, and I'm just like, Dad, I just need sanitary towels, like let's keep it moving, you know. But he was so focused, and he was really taking the parenting thing very seriously. Of course, my dad and I got very close at this time. As daddy's little girl, I went everywhere with my dad. He exposed me. He got me on a plane. Came to Joburg to visit family members almost every December after my mom died. Just really trying to give me this life of, you are going to be okay. You'll be just fine. Unfortunately, 4 years after my mom died, my dad died.
Oh my goodness.
And you know, he was not so sudden. It took a while for him to die, and I mean, I could see him deteriorating. His health moved from being absolutely 100% to almost like fading away, almost. And it was really, really tough for my brother and I, whom you'd also expect that because family was around, you'd expect the family would still be around. They were not around. I now forgive my family because I understand that everyone has their problems. And now all of a sudden you've got 2 little people that you must look after.
So those are your siblings?
So no, my brother and I. I mean, we were young.
Oh yeah, so you're saying, okay.
Yeah, so what I'm saying with family, having to now... With family
See,
now,
that's what I love about working with professionals.
with family now, having to, this gate, but...
So the gate keeps opening and closing.
Right.
So it is open and closes. Maybe you can raise your voice.
Okay, cool. So I just, my brother and I were very close. Our relationship as a brother and sister has suffered over the years because he doesn't know how to be my brother. He knows how to be my mom and my dad. My brother, once again, after my dad died, I was then raised by a male, my brother, who didn't even know how to be a parent.
So there's 2 kids, there's 2 of you guys.
So it's just my brother and I.
So the 2 of you,
Just
sure.
the 2 of us.
And then you guys orphaned at teenage ages.
In teenage years.
And what's the difference in age?
6 years difference between him and
he's
I.
older.
He's older than me.
Okay. So he was in his 20s when your father dies.
Yes, early 20s. I mean, he was still in varsity. Had to get out of varsity, for example. Couldn't go to varsity anymore. There was no money. My dad was the one who was making sure that all of those things happened. I was in high school. So it was really, really tough for us. But Sbu, my brother made me promise a few things. And I like talking about the fact that it was mainly 2 things. One was not to fall pregnant, because he really believed that would just be an added complication in our lives. Of course, children are beautiful and they're a blessing, but when they come into a messy situation, it makes things difficult. And so he said to me, please, no kids. Number 2, I don't want you to see the world for what it is now. I want you to picture a world that you want to live in and thrive in.
Wow.
And because I did not know a world outside of what we knew, it forced me to find the world I want to live in. It forced me to open up books, to get onto the internet, to find and discover a world that does not look like our current situation.
Now, how do you do that when you don't have any resources, when you're poor, when you're in Kwalanga, when there was no internet? How do you do that? Because the only thing you have is just the television set and the newspapers that you see in the streets or that you can open.
And of course, the news are not always great.
When you get into the toilet. By the way, for those who don't know, when we grew up, we didn't have toilet paper. We used to use newspapers.
So the newspaper you are meant to read and get information from, we're using to...
Actually, not that we didn't have toilet paper, we did have. But we were so poor that it was a luxury.
It's privilege.
It's like even things like cheese and bologna. Those are luxuries, right?
No. Those are
and people don't know that.
No, they think now because we are accustomed. No, those things were special days things, if you are lucky, So I mean, I remember my brother and I laugh about it today, but I remember coming out of school, he picks me up. By taxi, by the way. When I mean picks me up, I mean by car.
And sort of incorporate the talk to what I disturbed you when you were still trying to explain as to how did you get to want to find the world out there, because you didn't have internet and all of that.
So obviously it required me to first of all believe my brother when he says there was a world outside of what we knew. I had to believe him. 2, after believing him, I had to find it and believe that I was worthy of it. Because at this point you're dealing with stigma. People think you are HIV positive. I mean,
you didn't explain how your parents died.
So my parents died from AIDS. I found out.
So you found out later.
So after my dad died, I didn't know when my mom died that she had died from AIDS, or HIV related illnesses. I then find out after my dad died that he had died from AIDS.
Let me come in there, guys. At the time, there was a very negative stigma in South Africa around HIV and AIDS. And there was lack of education because we didn't understand what is AIDS, what is HIV, what is HIV and AIDS, what's the difference,
how you get
how
it,
do you
how
contract
you
it,
not,
how do you not, how do you pass it on? And people were dropping like flies every weekend in South Africa. Remember?
Absolutely.
And there was the government at the time. I think our president was the former president, Mr. Thabo Mbeki. And there was the ARV conversation that was going on.
This is the eating healthy conversation.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it was a turbulent
that's
time.
where we're coming from as a country.
Yeah.
Where if you know any South African who's lived here over the past 20 years, I guarantee you they know someone who died of AIDS.
That's a no-brainer. And the how you got HIV and how you died of AIDS was so visible. That's another thing we need to talk
Because people
about.
see you deteriorate.
People, I mean, you could
and the
see
stigma is so
someone
bad.
slipping away.
Because people just don't want to touch you anymore.
Also, it's about, why is it stigmatized?
Because there was lack of education at the time.
It's the sex. We don't talk about sex. Sex is taboo. So for us to even get to the conversation of HIV, we should have gotten through the conversation of sex first. Now, how do we get through the conversation of sex to get to HIV? How to stay away from HIV when we're not talking about sex to begin with? So it was a very difficult time. Sbu's right. People were dropping like flies. People were really, it was legit. People were dying. Imagine a country whose workforce were bedridden, dying. They are leaving 2 million AIDS orphans behind at the time.
And I know so many, and they're all my friends.
You have grandmothers who are having to now take in their children's children, burying their children. My grandmother, in 1996, buried her son in the month of May 1996 and buried my mother in June, 28 days later. Her firstborn and her secondborn, 28 days apart, both from AIDS. Then she had to look after both her daughter's children, supporting my father, and her son's children.
Now, what I want to understand is, mentally, as a teenager who's just lost both of her parents, having to deal with this nonsense. Obviously, you've got your sibling, older brother. How did you deal with it mentally? Because the community sees you as an AIDS orphan, and guys, the community was not so kind to AIDS orphans. You know how mean kids can be at school? The community was like that because automatically you've got AIDS.
And Sbu, it doesn't help that if people think I'm skinny now, honey, I'm big now. I was a lot skinnier. And so people automatically thought I didn't even have a chance to prove that I was not. My father, I'm sure there were moments where he also thought, because he would wake me up at 2 a.m. to force feed me with Vicks, because he just thought this child is just too skinny. I can't leave the world with her looking like this. So he was dealing with his own psychotherapy issues that he needed to be going through. So yes, at the time it's difficult because people think you're HIV positive. People are waiting for you to die because people are dropping like flies, right? And it's such a turbulent time, like I said, and no one knows the future. The future is so uncertain, you know, and
there's no internet.
There's no medication.
Oh my goodness.
My father was eating 16 pills a day. Antiretroviral treatment was so expensive that time. He was able to stay alive for 4 more years because he had those pills. He cashed in all our educational policies just to stay alive. That is why we couldn't go to varsity or school afterwards, after he died, because he had used all that money to stay alive.
So what did you do?
So, you know, my brother ensured that I stayed in school. And I normally say to people, I'm this true South African story of what happens when government services come to the aid of an adolescent girl. The Department of Education was told by social services, the Department of Social Development, that her father put her in the school. He had been paying school fees up until the very last moment, until he took his last breath. She is not going to leave the school. So I was going to a Model C school. And so automatically the education department, because it was a public school, just happened to be Newlands in Cape Town, they had to absorb me in the system. So I remained in the school my father placed me in, the school that he thought was good for me. And they ensured that I had one lunch, a meal a day. They ensured that I had therapy 1 hour a day, 1 hour a week, every week. And so the school did well. Then Department of Education, Department of Home Affairs was really good. They ensured that, and back then, can you imagine, 2 million AIDS orphans, not knowing.
Excuse me, don't you want anything to drink?
Yes, some sparkling water, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Sparkling water, yeah? Thanks.
At the time, Home Affairs, as a 15-year-old who've lost both her parents, you won't have an ID book. This is an identity document.
Identity document, yeah.
Because it requires your parents to walk in and do one for you. Parents are dead. You don't know what to do as a 14, 15-year-old. Fortunately, my school stepped in. Then the Department of Health ensured that if I needed any health services, that I would be able to access those health services. So I mean, at the time, so I knew all of these things. So really, government came through for me, assisted my brother and I so that I can get my social grant every month. So when people talk about people falling pregnant for the social grant, you know, it's a very complex conversation, because in South Africa there was once a time where they believed that teenagers are falling pregnant specifically to get the social grant money on a monthly basis.
And I think it happens in every country.
Yes, I mean, every country has some sort of social substance that they give to young people. But so yeah, so for me, in my
case, you guys
case,
know I'm an entrepreneur. I always have to make sure that you are seeing all these things. You must be seeing them.
So yeah, man, the mindset at the time was, I believed there was a bigger world out there. My father had put me on a plane to Johannesburg. I believed that there was a destination further than Johannesburg.
Before you continue, how does your father put you on a plane to Johannesburg when you're so young? Oh, sorry, you mean before he passed on?
Before he passed.
Also, you had seen it.
So
also, the memory, the visuals existed in your mind.
Absolutely. Every December, and I think my father was just doing it because he wanted to get rid of me on a December holiday. He's tired, you know?
Yeah.
So he'd send me to family here in Joburg. I flew, Sbu.
Wow.
I flew.
As we didn't fly.
I was 10, 11,
we're crowded
12,
in old vans.
30,
driving for 9 hours. Wow.
No, I flew.
Your father loved you.
As an unaccompanied minor, Mina. With those things. My father told me and showed me that there was a plane, an aeroplane. It flew to Johannesburg. I believed there were destinations further than Johannesburg. I believed it in my mind. I knew there must be further places one can go to. And my brother also, my brother and I saw a car just when he was picking me up from school one day. And I was like, "Sure, Buti, that car can only be driven by white people, rich white people. That car, no, that car, that's my dream car." And he says to me, "Get that out of your mouth now. Anything you want to drive, you can drive." I drive that car today.
Wow. You obviously drive a better version.
Of course. But the point is that it also depends at the time, Sbu, who's feeding your mind. As a 16-year-old, I can't say I relied completely on my own mindset. Who was my counsel?
Fresh class, yeah? Fresh class, please. Sure.
Who was my counsel at 15? Who was my point of contact? Who do I go to when I'm troubled by something? And those are questions we've got to really think about. I couldn't rely on my own mindset. Of course, then I turned 18, passed matric, then I came across Love Life.
Love Life was a program in South Africa that was doing sex education. And this is during the hardcore times of the HIV and AIDS epidemic, yeah?
Changed my life. I joined Love Life because they were going to give me 800 Rand a month.
How old were you when you joined?
18.
You were 18?
Yeah.
Okay. See how important it is for you guys when you... I know I keep disturbing as she speaks.
No, that's fine.
But I always take the wisdoms and I want to emphasize on them, especially for the younger audience.
Yeah.
Can you see how important it is, guys, to get yourselves involved when you're still young?
Yeah.
It doesn't only get you away from the streets, from trouble, from being involved in nonsense activities in the streets.
I like that.
But it gets you involved in something you can turn out to become your passion.
And your career.
Look at her today. What she does today was sparked by what she was doing at Love Life, which was inspired by her life story.
No doubt. They provided platforms for me that today I look back and I'm like, that's why I did that at Love Life, you know? So I joined Love Life, started giving me a platform to talk about my story, how much it hurt, how I got through it. And for me at the time, they were paying me 800. So I was doing it for the money. But you'd be surprised how when you have one intention over something, there's another intention that's born, or there's a consequence that's born from that intention. And for me, really, it was simple. They helped me find my purpose and define it.
And what she's saying is so true. The person that's holding the camera right now, Jay, how old are you? 22, 23? Jay's 23. He's doing this to get paid, right?
Yeah.
When he was starting out. He interned at Massive Metro, which is one of my companies that I started. And then right now, I liked him so much that we had great chemistry where I'm like, Jay, come.
Yeah.
So much so that at work, now I'm fighting him for my own personal thing.
Yeah, because
and they want him at work
there
as well.
Yeah.
And obviously that's also my company.
Yeah.
But at the company, they're like, nobody's doing Sbu's personal things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as much as he was doing this to
He
make money,
showed up.
he's learning.
Also, he showed up.
He showed up.
He didn't
Yes.
find you.
Yes.
I mean, you didn't find him. He found you.
What I wanted to say,
He came knocking on the door.
the point what I want to drive is that he is now experiencing what those people on camera are lucky to experience, your wisdom.
Listen.
And I'm not even just
These
talking
are
about
things we charge for, by the way.
exactly. We charge
By
thousands,
the way,
right?
I charge thousands
Exactly.
to speak at an event, to
Now,
talk about
so
it.
your situation, and this is the message I'm trying to drive to you young people, that he's here doing his grind there, but he's learning something else that he did not sign up for.
Young people
So
don't wanna
whether
put in
it's
the
positive or
grind.
negative and you're putting in the grind, it doesn't mean that, yeah, but that's not within my job description.
No.
You guys are too strict to say such things. When you're still young, you're trying to get
Do
on.
everything.
You gotta do everything.
Do everything. You don't know where you're going to go. Wow, that moment just changed my life. You won't know. Do everything. You do clean. If you're going to clean well in that moment. If you're going to make tea well. You don't know who you are making tea for. Who might go, I want you to go make tea on my private island. Pumethembisa, to go make tea on a private
when
island.
Upumelanga, what happened to you? That's what I want to know.
So got out of Langa.
Because you're young, you're 18 and you had love life.
I'm at Love Life. I start traveling with Love Life now, you know. And also, let me tell you the beauty about being exposed to things at a young age. When I meet a Sbu counterpart a few years later, trying to show me things in life, I'm not taken.
That's why I buy my daughter flowers. I open doors for my daughter. I teach my daughter multiple languages. I put my daughter in an aeroplane. That's the very same reason why, because I'm raising a girl here.
So I'm not bothered. My brother, when he got his first car, taught me how to drive. He was exposing me to things that he thought one day I might have to sell my body for to expose myself.
Wisdom.
So he was like, listen, I need to show you these things. My father made me fly. So when I met a boy and he wanted to take me to East London and a city in South Africa, I was like, no, my panty must drop for your flight to East London. No, take me to the moon. Then we are talking, no problem.
I've been further than East London.
Take me to the moon.
I've been flying all my life.
I mean, come on, you know. So it is very important that you expose your girl children, especially. So I get out of Langa, still working for Love Life, doing incredible things with them, traveling the world with them. Then I get headhunted.
You get headhunted.
While I'm speaking.
Why do you think you were headhunted? It's important for you to answer that question. Because you remember what she said earlier? She says if you are cleaning the toilets, clean them well, because you don't know if you're making that tea, who you're making that tea for. Why did she get headhunted?
Because then to that point, I'd been on the grind doing what I'm doing for so long, a couple of years at this point, that I was also doing it really well. And always when I speak to an audience, I ask myself I have one expectation. I want the people to leave the room feeling like they can change the world. That is my only expectation of my audience. And if I don't do that, I haven't done well. And so I must have moved the person who headhunted me so much that he thought if he could headhunt me, he'd be changing the world. And boy, did he change the world.
By empowering
me. And that's exactly what I wanted.
How did he change the world? And how did you get in? Sorry. How long? How many more minutes? Cool.
Okay.
How did he change your world? And who was he and how did it happen?
So there I was speaking. Random white guy comes up to me after my speech. And little did I know, after he'd offered me the job immediately, I was like, no, thank you. I don't want your job. He looked dodgy. And a couple of days later, my CEO tells me who he was, and I was shocked.
And you're what now, 19, 20, 21?
No, I mean like early 20s. I'm
okay.
20, 21, 22.
So you've been working for Love Life for a couple of years.
I'm good,
okay.
you know, and I'm based here in Joburg at that time. We are good. And
no problem.
I then discover that it's rich.
By the way, guys, this episode is recorded in South Africa, so I'm back home. So you'll hear a lot of excitement, a lot of noise, not because I'm here, but because we are
just like that.
Those type of people. Ubuntu. We're full of love. We're full of embrace. We're full of, you know what I mean, like that type of spirit.
And the person who headhunted me that I turned the job down initially was Richard Branson.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know who he was.
Because you just said
he
he was
look like he had money.
He looked dodgy.
Yeah. Lesson
They never
I
do.
learned. Lesson I learned, never judge a book by its cover.
And just to cut the long story short, let's move straight up
Yeah.
to what did Mr. Richard Branson introduce you to?
He introduced me to the world of non-profit organizations on a global scale, gave me an opportunity to speak at global stages on a more full-time basis. I was based both in the UK and in South Africa. Life was really good. I then started learning how to turn my passion into profit. Came back and I started a couple of social enterprises. Then I realized that, I've got to pay for my sins. I opened up a foundation for girls. I work with about 500 adolescent girls and young women on a yearly basis here in South Africa across various provinces. And of course, the biggest thing is that I get to speak on global stages around the world, from like various functions, conferences, meetings, high-level functions with presidents, ministers, and also just young people who are crazy passionate about life and finding their purpose.
Your vision for the future.
Oh my word, a world where who you are is enough, first of all, genuinely. That there is no box to operate in that determines your success. You can be successful doing exactly what it is that you want to do. A world where we can be truly ourselves and nobody judges you for your efforts. Also where wealth is not determined in monetary value only. It's a holistic thing. And most importantly, Sbu, I want to make money. I want to make money. I want to make money enough for myself and to make an impact for others, for change. I'm unapologetic about that because I know that's how I'm going to be able to change the world.
And lastly, what would you like to say to girls all across the world, especially in the African continent?
Girl, you are enough. I know that you have challenges, socioeconomic challenges that you're dealing with, gender inequality that you're dealing with. You might have not been chosen to go to school at home because you are a girl. I want to tell you that you can live beyond that. Socioeconomic situations don't determine who you are. I come from that. Today, I'm a cleaner, blessed version of myself because I believed that I am going to get out of the situation. And I know from where you are right now, it looks like this is it. This is the end. There is no way I'm making it. I'm telling you, you can. If you have life inside of you and you have a mouth, it means you have a voice. You can change not only your life, but the lives of others around you. So I just need you to believe it. That's all. I need you to believe it.
She's too incredible, and the reason why I brought her here, she's not only an entrepreneur, but she's a social entrepreneur, and she's a friend. And that's what I can relate to, because that's what I am myself. I'm a social entrepreneur. I can't see myself succeed without seeing others succeed as well. So thank you very much to my sister, Sibulele _Sibaca. In South Africa, we've got 3 clicks in a language called isiXhosa, which is where she originates from. The first click is a C, which is her. Is the top of the mouth and the bottom of the top of the tongue. And then you've got the side click, which is a which is an X. The click is on the side. That's an X. And then you've got the last click of the that's a Q, right?
GQ, baby.
GQ, baby. That's a life we're living now, but we come from humble beginnings. And we believe in empowering you as our youngsters out there who are watching this content, the ones who are our age or a little bit older. We just want to say it's not about the age. You can still become whoever you want to become. Thank you. Young people are doing great things in the world. The question is, what are you doing with your life? That's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you, Kalibone.
I love that. Hi, everyone. My name is Sibulele Sibaca. I'm a social entrepreneur and a global speaker. And I just got hustled by DJ Sbu on the Hustler's Corner.